I completed the top stitching all the way around, and you can see it begins to tie in this pink a little better, and I love the gradation with it in there. I think it adds a whole new dimension to the jacket, as if it were not already colorful enough. All right, now the next stage is to join our two hexie halves, and you do need to predetermine your front and your back, and I have indicated which is the front and the back with some stitch markers. And the important thing about your joining is that you have the same number of stitches from in the area where you're going to join. I have determined that 50 stitches from the corner is how many I'm going to join up. And that's going to leave me a length of 3 inches from the shoulder seam. And I'm going to add enough rounds in this back center join to also measure approximately 3 inches. Refer to your body measurement chart and determine how many stitches that you will need and how many rows you will need in order to have the correct width of garment. Where the stitching ends and the neckline, I'm going to add 2 rows of stitches to each back side of my hexagons, and then I'm going to come in with 1 row of the continuous join and then join the 2 together. I am varying the stitch heights of the join in the back of my jacket to accommodate the 3 inches I intend to add to the width of the back joint. You will need to refer to the body measurement chart in order to determine how many stitches and what heights you will need in order to add the correct amount of width that you plan to add to the back of your jacket. As far as the first stitch from the corner, it seems logical to just go right into that corner like this, but I have found if you come down to the next stitch and put it there, you had only 1 chain. I had only 1 chain in this corner. You may have had 2, so I'm actually going in to the top of that last stitch in order to create a flush edge at the bottom of my jacket after all my rows are added. I'm going to put in a standing half double crochet, and that standing stitch begins exactly like a double crochet. Insert the hook into that stitch and hold the tail. I'm holding the tail in the front so that that loop doesn't let go, and then I have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and that's a standing half double crochet. And now I'm going to continue to put half double crochet in the top of each stitch from the previous row. Now that we're getting to this joining the 2 sides together, I have chosen to begin each of my rows new with a standing stitch because I like all of my stitches front sides facing. Now I mentioned earlier that this jacket, by the time we get through, it's going to be a reversible jacket anyway. But just wanted to point out that if you choose to go up to your stopping point here and then chain up and turn and come back, that's fine. That is your design choice, because it's a reversible jacket anyway. But I'm going to go ahead and go up to my stopping point. I already counted my stitches. I'm going up 48 stitches to the neck, where I will chain up 1, pull up a loop, and cut my yarn. On the other side of the hexagon, I will begin my standing half double crochet at the stitch marker at the neck of the jacket and continue with my half double crochets in each stitch from the previous row all the way to the bottom of my jacket. I will hook up with you when I am ready to begin my second row of the join in the back of my hexagon jacket. I have completed the first row of my join on both sides of my hexagon. Let's continue. I'm going to come in with purple next. I am going to do, though, a double crochet, so I'm going to do a standing double crochet in the top of each stitch from the previous row. So I'll be starting right here where the standing half double was, and hold that tail so you don't lose your loop. And I'm going to put in double crochet in each stitch from my previous row for a total of 48 stitches. I will continue this stitch pattern on both sides of my hexagon, and I will meet up with you when I have completed this row, and we will complete the continuous join and be finished with our join of our 2 hexagon halves. Now I have, you can see I have both rows added, the blue, the purple, the blue, the purple. Now, I'm choosing to do this both sides the same. I could have easily come in, like I said, I had enough of the striping yarn, the polo, and I could have just gone back and forth and back and forth. And yes, I would have had different colors, but I wanted more color control with mine. And in fact, on this last row, I want to come in with this beautiful magenta that I love this color. I don't like to wear magenta, but I love to look at magenta. Now, if this jacket was all magenta, I probably wouldn't care for it that much, but I do like a little bit of magenta. So I am going to color control now to the point that I'm going to come to the magenta, and my join up the back is going to be the magenta. Now I'm still keeping all of these pieces of yarn in the different colors because, for one thing, it's yarn. I don't throw yarn away. But the other reason is I am going to come around all the way around the garment and with some edging that also will finish out the neckline and make it look nice and finished. So I am keeping it all, and then we will also bring in the limelight, the boysenberry, as well as the hot rose. We'll bring all of those colors back, and then I have a really special finale treatment for this jacket that is going to take it over the top. And you know how I am. More is more. Now I'm going to come through. I haven't decided what kind of a join I'm going to put here. I could do something that's kind of open, like the double crochet 2 together. I could do that. I do not want to come in with a bobble stitch in the middle because I will be leaning back against a chair or something while I'm wearing the garment. And you need to be mindful of that kind of thing. I could, I think I will, and then I can decide, what size, how tall of a stitch do I want? Do I want to come in with just a single crochet, or do I want to come in with a half double or a double? If I came in with a single crochet, I would come up both sides because I think just a single crochet is not enough here. But I think I'm going to go ahead, I think I'm just going to go ahead with a double crochet. The other place that I used this color in the jacket was also a double crochet, so I think I'm going to stick with that. Not have, keep it simple. So once again, I'm going to demonstrate the continuous join. You've seen it before. It's exactly the same as what we did in the at the shoulder seam, but in case it's a new concept for you, then I want to demonstrate it again. But if you got this and you can do it all by yourself, then you go, girl. All right. And I am going to begin with a standing seam here. Pull up a loop and pull my yarn tail around to the front, so I be sure and have that loop. And I have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now this first loop I want to put into the very first stitch on the other side. I have woven in all my ends, and I was very mindful of not pinching the top of my standing stitches. That is something that's very easy to do, and trust me, I've done it many times and regretted it later because I needed to go back in it. And so I was very mindful of that as I was doing this. No chain after you get through the stitch. Double crochet. Check the tension. Make sure it's not too loose, not too tight. And into the next stitch, grab that loop and pull it through to the front. And double crochet again. Grab the loop. After I get some stitches in, I'm going to lay it down and look at it and see if that's really what I want. Because even using a double crochet, I have options of how to join it. I can pull it up from the top or from the bottom. If I pull it up from the bottom, I will make a chain. But I think I like that. I think I like that a lot. So I'm just going to continue with that join. I'll demonstrate a couple of more stitches, then I'll let you go and come back for the next step. I'll hook up with you at the end of this join. And here we are. Here's the front of my jacket and the back, so you can see the beautiful join. I love it. I love this. I think it's coming out really nicely. Now then, in my opinion, this still, it just, with this here, it doesn't look finished. And I've seen many people stop and leave that edge, and you know, that's fine for them, but I feel like it needs more. Something to finish off that edge, even up the stitches. They're not, I mean, there's the same number of stitches in each row, but it's just not a smooth transition there. And I want to have a smooth transition there. In fact, I want to add each one of these colors 1 row of either single crochet or half double crochet. And I'm going to start my first row of those stitches and go all the way around, even around the neck. This will also be our neck treatment, because see, you have the same unfinished edge even here at the back of the neck. But that's a nice neck opening. In fact, I was going to measure it to see. See, it's just 2.5 inches, a little over 2.5 inches, and that's exactly what we were going for. So I accomplished that with 3 rows of double crochet and 2 rows of half double crochet. And for my stitch height with a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook and worsted 4-weight yarn, that equals just a tad over 2.5 inches. That's exactly what I was going for. So I'm going to go all the way around with, I think single crochet is what I'm going to do. Single crochet, and I'll go all the way around, even around the neck, all the way around, and I'm going to do all of the colors. I'm going to start out with my polo stripe, single crochet all the way around. Now I'm going to do a little treatment here at the neck where I will add increases in this neckline in order to form a shawl collar. That will make the wearing of this garment much more comfortable than if I just did single crochets around this neckline because it would have a tendency to reduce the size of the neckline. And I don't want to do that for the comfort of wearing of the garment. The shawl collar treatment will actually stand up as you look at the jacket from the front. When we get to this place in the neckline, I will demonstrate the stitches whenever we get to this row of trim. With my polo, I have a lot of it left, but because I've been color controlling, it's cut into, like this blue is separate, and then this, I don't necessarily, yeah, I could go ahead and start with this ball here, and then it's going to come into the magenta, and then, yeah, I think I'm going to begin with it rather than that other piece. And I don't know, I may be able to go 2 or 3 rounds, and that may be all that I want. So, let's begin. This is my yarn bowl, and all it is a really heavy noodle bowl. And it got damaged here and chipped, so I don't want to keep washing it all the time, but it's nice and heavy, so I use it as my yarn bowl. I am going to begin this edging. I'm underneath. This is where I began my slip stitching, surface crochet. I'm going to begin it under the arm, on that same arm. I don't want it out front, and I don't want it just in the middle of the back. So I'm going to begin with a slip stitch on my hook, and my first stitch will be a standing single crochet, the easiest standing stitch of them all. In fact, you've probably done one before, you just didn't realize it was a standing stitch. So with your slip stitch on your hook, insert the hook into any stitch there, yarn and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. It is a standing single crochet. I'm going to single crochet in every stitch from this previous row, and I am once again being mindful of my front, the front of my work, because on this side it's all the front of the stitches, and this side is all the reverse of the stitches. And I already mentioned, but I'll say it again, this will be a reversible jacket whenever we get through, and we have a special treatment for the inside of the jacket that makes it reversible. And I don't want to give away the surprise yet, like I told you. And there's more. I'll continue the stitch pattern of a single crochet in each stitch from the previous round, and I'll meet up with you at the collar where we will begin our collar treatment. Coming up to our neck, and I tried this jacket on. It comes to this perfect spot on the back of my neck. So I'm being very mindful, given my experience with my very first hexagon jacket, where it had this single crochet treatment around it, and it the pattern said to make it, you know, that how you did decreases around that the circle of the neck in order to fit your neckline. Well, that was very painful. And although I love the coloration in that sweater, I still have it, but I can't wear it for very long, and I find myself constantly grabbing it from the shoulders and pulling it back off my neck because it's just uncomfortable. So what I am going to do as we start coming around this corner is along the back, every 2 stitches, I'm going to do an increase. I don't want it to be a ruffle. I just want a little bit more fullness for the next rows. It's also the foundation for the shawl collar, which is a very comfortable neckline for the Hexie cardigan. I want to get one right in that corner. I'm going to go right in both of them on the corner because I don't want that corner to pull out. All right. Now I'm on the join of the 2 backs together. I don't have any back loops to go into, so I'm going to go ahead and start my increase right here in this first stitch. I'm going to increase, and then I'm going to put 2 stitches, and in that half double crochet I'm only going to put 1 stitch. That's kind of a choice you have to make on half double crochets. Is that 1 stitch or 2 stitches? Okay, and then I'm coming into a double crochet, and I'm going to do my best to get into 2 loops for this double crochet, because I don't want my stitch that I'm putting in to pull the double crochet out, so I'm going to try and go into 2 loops. Now my next stitch is an increase, and it's also the head of my standing double crochet, and I have 2 loops there, so it's no problem there. I'm going to go ahead, put 2 stitches. All right, my next stitch is also into a double crochet, and I'm going right into the head of that double crochet, and then 1 more double crochet, and I'm going around 2 loops of the double crochet. If I can get in 2 loops. If I can't, I just wrap around the double crochet. That's all there is to it. All right, and in the next stitch is an increase, 2 double crochet. And it is a double crochet that I'm going into, so I still am going to put 1 more stitch. And I'm just going around that post because I can't get into a loop. All right, the next stitch is a half double crochet. Oops, wait a minute. That's right, I thought I made too many increases. And so it gets 1 stitch. Oh good, that turned out perfectly. Wait a minute, I put a chain in there. It's not what I want. All right, 1 double crochet in that half double crochet from the previous round, and now I'm back to my corner, and guess what, it's time for an increase, exactly what I did over here. And isn't that grand? That's exactly what needs to happen. Okay, so I have my increases as we come around that part, so that the collar will come up and not have a tendency to go in. I don't want the circumference, the semi-circumference of the collar to come in and get smaller. I want it to, and I want this also to stick up a little bit on the back of my neck. I want it to lay on the back of my neck. Okay, now as we come around to the front, I'm going to go back to stitching in 1 of the loops, 1 of the back loops, all the way down, and for the rest of the garment. And I will hook up with you where we slip stitch to join, and we will add our next color. All right, I'm coming to the end of this first round, and I want this next row to be a different color, so I'm going to color control a little bit. I'm going to leave myself quite a long tail here, but then I'm going to get to the next color. Now I've completed the color change with my new yarn, and I'm going to come in this row because I can tell by how much yarn I have. I'm not going to have enough yarn to do the half double crochet all the way around, but I'm fairly certain I can do a single crochet all the way around. So I'm going to begin my single crochet, and I'm going in both loops. A single crochet just in the back loop on the next row. Anyway, I'm going to go into both loops without any further explanation. I'm going to go into both loops for a single crochet, and I'm going to just crochet over my yarn ends for just a couple of stitches, and then I'm going to drop those and just begin single crochet all the way around. I want to stitch with you to the corner because the previous round I just put 2 stitches in the corner without a chain in between, and that worked fine for that round, but this one I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to put a chain in between here. And in fact, if you're watching this and haven't done the previous round, you may want to put a chain in there anyway, just not to crowd the corner. But I don't want my corners, they've been nice and crisp all the way through this jacket. I don't want to round them off now. We've come this far, because I just have a thing for nice crisp corners. Now I'm to the place where that corner was, and I just have two half double crochets in there. I'm going to come in with a single crochet and a chain one and a single crochet to complete the corner. And let's look at that. That looks pretty good. I can live with that. It's crisp. And single crochet all the way around. I tried my jacket on to see if the increases that I put in the previous round around the neck was going to be enough, and I believe it is. Continue this stitch pattern repeat of a single crochet in each stitch from the previous row, and I will meet up with you where we will join a new color. With my edging, I was able to get all the way around 2 times and get a second color after this magenta. So I was able with my polo to get in the burgundy, the magenta, and the blue. I was hoping to get into the turquoise here, but I didn't have enough. Now I want to come in and I'm going to bring in this limelight. I have something really special for the bottom edge. I'm going to put the bottom edge is going to have first a single crochet, and then I'm going to come in with a bobble stitch hanging, I call it a fringe, a bobble stitch fringe. Begin with a slip knot on your hook in any method you prefer. I'm going to go all the way around with the single crochet in the back loops. Then the second time around, and I'm going to begin at one of the corners of my bottom. And then I'll come in the second time around with the special edging on the bottom of the jacket, and then come starting at the front with my crab stitch and end up back at the bottom again. We will begin, since I'm right hand dominant, I'm beginning on the bottom of my jacket. It's as I look at it, turned upside down, it's actually the left side, because I want to work in that direction. Okay? All right, and we're going to begin right in that corner. Our corners were a single crochet and a chain one, but I'm going to put the stitch not in the, yes, I am. I'm going to put it right in the top of the chain, because it's the back loop of the chain of between the single crochet, chain one, single crochet. And I am doing a standing single crochet in that back loop. So pull that tail around. So you've got your 2 loops and single crochet. And single crochet in the back loops of every stitch all the way around. Bottom, front, neck, and then the other side of the front, and we will end up right here in this same spot. So I will meet you there, and then we will begin our very special edging. I'm continuing to show you the jacket at all of the various stages because as I've indicated to you before, you can stop the embellishment anytime you get ready. As I've said, you don't have to go through this, down this rabbit hole with me, because for me, more is more. And this is a beautiful jacket, just exactly like this. I am going to come back with my sleeve and put the single crochet edging, and I'm going to put the reverse single crochet, also known as the crab stitch, on the sleeve, and that will be the completion of the sleeve. But on the jacket itself, now let me show you the back with the edging at the bottom, as well as with the join in the middle. And it's quite colorful and very festive, and it's a great festival jacket if you go to festivals. And I go to market days, fiesta, the Texas Folklife Festival. We have a lot going on here in San Antonio. But this jacket still lends itself to some embellishment. And now that I have the single crochet of the limelight all the way around, I want to put another edging on here. As I came all the way around the jacket, the corner treatment, I did do a single crochet in one stitch and a chain one to come around the actual corner, and then now I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch that I made on the bottom. What I'm going to put on the bottom of this jacket is, I call it a bobble fringe. I don't know if it's actually called fringe or not. Now that I see how that pulled right there, whenever I slip stitched, I'm going to join with a single crochet because I don't want that to pull in there. Let's chain 4. And on these chains, make them just the side, make sure that they're not too tight. There's my 4th chain. I'm going to put my finger there. I'm going to chain up 2 for my first stitch, and then I'm going to yarn over and come back into that 4th chain under 2 loops and pull up a loop and extended double crochet. There's the first. We're going to put 4 extended double crochet. Now you have 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 5 loops and chain 1. Back into that original chain, into the 1 loop on the side, slip stitch, and now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to come over 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th stitch, single crochet. And let's see what that looks like. It looks fantastic. Doesn't hang down quite so far. And yeah, I think that's really, really cute. I'm going to do that one. And here's the way your bobble looks on the other side. It's going to have a little opening there. And you might try let's see if we can tighten that up a little bit. Let's hold him. The way you might be able to do that is tighten that the yarn that's going through all those loops, and then you've already slip stitched into the side loop there, you can pull that slip stitch pretty tight too. And then chain 3 normal tension. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, this time when we come back, let's see what it looks like just to go skip 1 stitch and go over into the next stitch rather than skip 2 stitches and go over. Okay. And so that's your a little bit different effect. Not much difference though, not much difference. Another thing that I'm thinking though, instead of a single crochet here, I'm thinking I'm gonna slip stitch, because it makes my, with doing a single crochet, it makes my bobble fringe go off to the side. Yeah, I like that better. And the thing that'll happen if I only skip 1 stitch and then go into the 3rd stitch from the first chain, I'm going to have 48 of these. And I'm not sure, and my bobbles before were every 4th stitch also. So I'm thinking I'm going to go every 4th stitch. But I'm just showing you options if you're choosing to put this embellishment on yours. Different options. And again, you can go even further. You can not have as many chains as I do, and it'll lay closer to your jacket. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're skipping 2 stitches, going into the next stitch, and I decided that I wanted to do a slip stitch to join. Okay, now I'm going to chain up 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Place my finger at the base of that chain. Chain 2. Yarn over into that 4th chain. Under 2 loops. Pull up a loop. Extended double crochet. 2 loops on the hook. Repeat. Extended double crochet. Extended double crochet again. 4 loops on the hook. We need 1 more. Okay. Now I've had 5 loops on my hook. Every time I have 5 loops, it's time to pull through a loop through all 5 loops. And as I do that, I stick my finger in the bobble and pull the front of my stitches forward. I want that to be tight on my bobble, and then slip, chain 1. Oop. And I got it tight all right, but I want it tight. And then back into the 1 stitch on the side of that chain that we went into, just 1 loop. Chain 1 and chain 1, 2, and 3. Skip 2 stitches, and in the next stitch, slip stitch to join. And that's going to be my edging on the bottom of this vest or jacket. Okay, let's make 1 more together. Now, let me talk about your bobbles. Your bobbles, number 1, they can be smaller if you will make them with double crochet, and then you just come through 2 loops, and then you make another one and yarn over into the chain and just go through 2 loops and leave that last loop on the hook. You can do it with double crochets. Another look that you can do this similar look, if you want just a smaller bead at the bottom, is you can put a picot. You can come out with your chain and then chain up 2, 3, 4, 5, and then come back into that chain and then chain back to your garment. Just put a picot there, and then it's a much smaller little bead. All a picot is a little loop. with 2 or more chains that goes back into the original chain where it started. Okay, let's make another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put my finger there. Now chain 2, yarn over into that chain where I had my finger. Oop, I didn't yarn over very good, did I? Yarn over, insert the hook into that chain where I had the finger, pull through 1 loop, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, again, the same thing. Wow, that loop really closed up on me. There he is, I see him now. Get those 2 loops back on my hook. All right. And the reason for going through the 2 loops is so that you have one that you can close your stitch with and it won't pull it open. If you're only through 1 loop and you have to open, begin and end your bobble with it, that loop will open up. Repeat another extended double crochet, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and repeat. And now you have 5 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. Slip stitch to close the stitch, and insert the hook into 1 loop of the original chain for the bobble and pull up a loop and slip stitch to join. Chain 3, and slip stitch into the 4th stitch from the beginning chain of that bobble to the garment. Okay, and let's do 1 more and then I'll let you work independently if you're doing this with me. 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. Put your finger at the bottom of that chain. Chain 2 to count as your 1st stitch. Yarn over, insert the loop into that chain under 2 loops. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Repeat that again. Yarn over into the 4th chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We have 3 loops on the hook. Repeat that again. Yarn over, insert the hook into the chain, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. 4 loops on the hook. Pull out some more yarn. Yarn over, repeat that again, another extended double crochet, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through all 5 loops, push your bobble forward, chain 1 to close the stitch into a single loop at the foundation of the bobble, and slip stitch and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Back at the garment, skip 2 stitches and slip stitch into the next stitch. Well, have fun with your bobble embellishment for the bottom of your jacket, and I'll be back I'll hook back up with you whenever I get all the way to the other corner, and then I'm going to come through and do the crab stitch or the reverse single crochet on the remainder of the front and neck of this garment. I've completed the single crochet and back loops only of my Limelight, as well as I finished putting the bobble fringe edging trim. I don't know, to me it's like a little fringe, but the bobble edge, I finished putting that on the jacket, and now I want to come in with a reverse single crochet. Now ordinarily for me, as a right hand dominant, I would be coming through to my next row just like this. I'd be chaining up and going right along here. But this is a reverse stitch. So I'm going to turn the work over. I've already slip stitched to the beginning where I began the row. And now I'm going to, gotta get my yarn on the right side of the hook. All right, now I'm going to insert my hook into the first, from here, from this side, it's the front loop only, this way, and pull up a loop, and not pulling it through that first loop, only through, not pulling it through the loop that's on the hook. I want to have 2 loops on the hook, just like any other single crochet, and then yarn over and pull through both of those loops, and that is a reverse single crochet. And then insert the hook again into your next stitch. I'm only going through 1 loop. If it's a regular reverse single crochet, you would go through the 2 loops from the previous row. I'm going through only 1, so I'm going to pull through a loop and expose my 2 loops on the hook and yarn over and pull through both of those loops. Again, into the top, the front loop of the previous row, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Insert the hook into the top loop of the previous row, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now let's look at what this stitch looks like. It's a very fun stitch if you've never done it before. Generally it's used as the final treatment on a stitch, and because it's difficult to put another stitch into it, but I guess it could be done. I've just never seen it done that way. Oftentimes it'll be the last thing that's done in surface crochet, because I could come in and I could attach it to this chain. I could put it in any of these other loops. It could be fine in where we went in back loops only. It could go in this loop as surface crochet, and then it's also used frequently as trim because it very much looks like a cord. This is the front side. When you're working in reverse, this is still the front side, the one that's facing you, and you see that it kind of looks twisted. For this application that I'm using, also the front of my garment is this side. And the stitch is very pretty that way too, but it looks like a knot. And I like the way it works alongside my bobbles. Okay, so that is your reverse single crochet. I'll do a couple of more with you, and then if you are reverse single crochet stitching with me, I'm going to leave it with you independently to work, and I'll catch up with you when I'm on the other side. I've always wondered actually, why is it called the crab stitch? I don't get it. But I have not been around a lot of crabs. Maybe there's something about it that's crabby. And there you have it. Reverse single crochet. And here's the back, just as pretty as the front, but a different look. There we go. That loop was in the wrong spot. I'll leave it with you, and I'll meet up with you on the other side. I am so excited to be at this point in this adorable hexagon sweater. I am naming this either my festival sweater, or I'm just going to call it Fiesta, because it is definitely all the colors of our Fiesta. But this is how, what I'm showing you is, you can't see the stitches probably on camera, but this is the inside or the wrong side of this sweater. And I've been promising you that it would be reversible, because I sewed pockets on the inside. And whenever I go to festivals, market days, anything like that, I don't carry my handbag, but I need a place to put my phone, a credit card, my ID maybe a little cash, anything like that. And these pockets are perfect for that. And being reversible, they can be on the inside, which is where I like them to be whenever I'm in a crowd, or they can be on the outside. It's a cute jacket on either side. Also, your bobble stitches are reversible. If you're going to wear the jacket with the pockets on the outside, you can just take your finger and pop your bobble stitches out on that side if you want to, but they look fine, not pressed out at all. It's all your choice. I always like a little pocket, and so I made 2 of the 5-inch retro daisies, but I left off 1 round on the outside, so it really is more like 4, I think. And then I put, it's 4.5. And then I put a round of the amethyst, which is this color, of the red heart on the outside. And all I did to this one is I just stitched it, and I stitched it with a threaded yarn needle, and I just went through these stitches on this outside. After I did a row of double crochet, then I did a row of single crochet, and I'm stitching in the single crochet all the way around. Now, I'm being careful whenever I get to the colored part here that's not purple. I'm being very careful when I make my stitches to go through only 2 loops on this side, so that my stitching does not show through on this side. Okay? So let's stitch this other one on together, and then this cardigan will be completed. I have had so much fun doing this, and I've been sleepless. I can go to sleep for a few hours, but I'm constantly thinking about this cardigan. And now that it's done, I think I'm going to get a good night's rest tonight. All right, now the way I start sewing is I pull my needle through some of the stitches, and then I tie a knot, a left over, a right over left, and then left over right. And that's how I get started with yarn on something that's not going to show, because I'm going to stitch right down, and I'm going to even stitch this tail. I'm going to stitch it in. So I'm going to come up to the front side of the stitch, just coming in, and then I just eyeball it, and I'm just putting it right on that seam right there, and I'm doing the same thing here, and we can finagle that just a bit when we get down there, but I am only going in the purple right now, and I'm making sure to get, you know, a couple of loops. I'm not just going in a few threads, I'm getting in a couple of loops. And this first part on each side, the top of the pocket, I really reinforce with a couple of rounds, because this is the part of a pocket that's going to get the most stress on it as we stick our hand in and pull out our phone or whatever it is we have in there. It can get a lot of pulling and tugging on it. So I usually do a couple of stitches there. And then I just come in each stitch, go in one, go through a few loops underneath, and then come out the next stitch. And it's just a straight stitch, a running stitch, we would call it in embroidery. In one, pick up a couple of loops of yarn, and out. And just pull it, make sure it's not gathered up. It's okay if there's some yarn going through on the purple on the other side. Just make sure that you're not pulling the stitches so much that it shows a little tug on it. But all you really need, all I'm really trying to do is get a couple of loops of yarn just right here on this side. That's all I really care about. And then out the next stitch in the top of those single crochets. Play with it, make sure it's not pulled too tight, and then in the next stitch, a couple of loops of yarn again, and then out the next stitch. But I want to show you something else that you can do. If you decide that you want to wear this side, if you want your bobble stitches to come on this other side, all you got to do is stick your finger in there and pull them out. Push them through. That's all you have to do. And then you've got your bobbles on this side. Your bobbles are working on both sides. And once you push them through on this side, they'll stay all day. And then the next time you wear it, if you want to wear the other side, you just push them back through. So these are dual purpose bobbles and a reversible hexagon cardigan. I've thoroughly enjoyed making this cardigan and bringing this tutorial to you. If you've found value in this tutorial, please like, subscribe, and share this tutorial with your friends.